Well, here's some pretty amazing proof that remote randonauting works. Even when you don't have a clue what you're looking for, Randonautica can come up with the goods on this insanely mind-blowing journey.
Are you in there, Steve? I'm not going to knock.
Turns out Steve was in there, pretty much. Steve is part of Randonautica lore, but his origins are somewhat unusual. This is Tobias, Randonautica project manager.
Steve has been such an inside joke for years and years.
More from Tobias and his trip to the UK later, but for now, let's join our UK Randonautica correspondent Vicky video on her 7 days of Steve intent. But first, a little bit of music with random samples chosen by Randonautica. Welcome to the Steve song.
Steve. Steve is everyone. Steve is no one. Steve is from all timelines. This is Steve. All kinds of Steve. Show us the face of Steve, who will lead our humanity to ascension. Steve.
Ooh, it's soggy. Hey, it's Vicky doing the 7 days of Steve-mas in Manchester. Pro Randonaut tip. Wear proper, robust footwear for randonauting because you can go sploshing and climbing over rugged terrain and basically take your randonauting further and better. We're out photographing mushrooms as well. Here's some. Hi little autumn friends. We're on a little break from work at the minute. Check out those, they're so pretty. I've been here for 2 years and never seen these mosaics. The earth is ours. Hello, cooties. I've got no food, sorry. I've got no food. Lobed feet for walking on top of weeds. Is your name Steve? Is your name Steve? So, the point is somewhere around here. Priority over oncoming vehicles. I'll learn how to read one of these days. Ooh. A debris screen, that's it. Oh, not quite Steve. Volker Steven. Kind of Steve, I guess. Danger. Deep excavations. Okay, it's number 16, so that's 12, 14, so there's 16. Be discreet when you're filming people's houses. Let's start looking around at the clues. Well, I can hear some kind of machinery coming from the back of the Steve house. Maybe Steve is Sweet 16. This is definitely the house. Right, let's do a little walk by with the camera down low. Right, I'm going to survey the area for clues without my phone on. I just said to the leaf blower guy, excuse me, I'm doing a treasure hunt and I'm looking for someone called Steve. Is your name Steve? And he said, no, Matthew. I said, close enough. This here is just on the perimeter of the radius, Volker Steven. There was a Steve at the find. Volker Steven, all kinds of Steve. Steven is definitely a flavour of Steve. The more I look, the more I see the word Volker Steven.
This is Steve. All kinds of Steve.
All around. I don't know how many times it's there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There must be at least 40 kinds of Steve in here. Bingo, Randonautica, you did it again. I don't know why I'm always so surprised. I would say probably maybe 6 out of 10 Randonautica journeys end in something fantastic. The others can be a bit meh. I always say it's pretty new technology though. Your mind isn't always going to connect with the quantum random number generator. Keep on doing it though and build up the power. Chain together points. I can't imagine what the 7 days of Steve-mas is going to be like on the 7th day when I've really built up the Steve energy. Right, over and out. I'll do another one shortly, tomorrow, maybe, depending on the weather. I've got to save a little bit of battery on my phone because I'm going to the deli and I'm going to buy baklava and I want to pay on my phone. And I'm probably not going to sleep tonight because I'm about to eat a month's worth of sugar in one mouthful. And that is why baklava deserves to be nominated for one of the world's best foods. Let's go baklava. See you, Steves. Which one should I go for?
Steve. In my naivety of Steve, little did I know that the find ahead was deadly accurate.
The pressure is on. If I find Steve today at the point, I'm going to treat us to one of these. Come on, Steve. The point has landed on Kashmir Poultry Limited.
It's the second shipping container. This becomes very relevant after Tobias reviews the footage.
I don't think I'm going to be getting my dessert. The point is here. Let me have a closer look at the point on the map. The point has actually landed on that shipping container there. What does it say on it? Not much. Let's have a look. Maybe Steve's down the side. Are you in there, Steve? I'm not going to knock. Deary me. There are flies. And there is the smell of meat.
Show us the face of Steve, who will lead our humanity to ascension.
Right, it's a few days later. Let's carry on with the 7 days of Steve intent.
Oh, it's raining again, but that's very much rainbow weather. Okay, so maybe there is some Steve lore that I don't know. I am going to just put the shipping container into the video because I don't know everything about Steve, do I? Maybe there's an in-joke I've missed. But all kinds of Steve, there is definitely a shipping container just there. What could it mean, Steve? What could it mean? Oh my gosh, there's still some summer left in that sun, even though it's mid-October. Right, well, other than me awaiting an email off somebody called Steve today, that's my only Steve connection. Hopefully it's good news, my email from Steve. I'm not going to have a dessert now, that's a shame. Okay, so on my way to the second Steve point of the day. Thankfully it dropped a pin in the same direction that I'm heading home, so it would be rude not to. And that's one of the things that I do when I randonaut. I say, please, can I have my intent, whatever that may be? And it would be really helpful, Randonautica, if you could drop one nearby for me that's easily accessible and safe for me to get to. And I'd say it has a pretty good go at doing that. Right, let's start. Oh my God, it smells delicious along here, even though I have just eaten. Wow. This is Curry Mile, Rush Home, Manchester, if you fancy it. It's world famous. Steve the cat. Steve the cat. So I do believe it's down here at number 38, Schuster Road. I don't think I've been down this bit of Manchester before. What are you doing up there, you naughty little invasive parakeet? Yeah, digging a hole in someone's house. There is absolutely nothing here of any note, except the number of the house was 38. Steve, are you in there? Hopefully not. Ooh, I don't like that. That is a heron, painted funny.
This is Steve, all kinds of Steve.
I'm getting excited. Tobias is nearly here. I've got my flamingo collection powered up. I've got my owl dress on. I've only ever met Auburn.
No, that's a flamingo! God, that's right. It's a flamingo.
Auburn is CEO and co-founder of Randonautica. Here's us meeting a flamingo in Barcelona. We're a very international team. Been working for Randonautica for a couple of years now. So to say I am excited is a bit of an understatement. So he'll be here any minute, and then we are hopefully going randonauting for Steve. So we are going randonauting. Tobias and Ella and Philip. Come on, let's go. Tobias has never been to Manchester before and it's throwing it down. Never been randonauting with a kid before, but adding Ella, Tobias's daughter, to the mix really brought a whole new element of novelty and fun to the adventure. So we've dropped our pin. We're in the middle of my 7 kinds of Steve intent. I think this might be the 4th Steve point. We've all gathered around the phone and Tobias's alarm's going off. We've all gathered around the phone, dropped the pin, admired the new app. And thankfully the point that has dropped is just in the park over there, and then we're going to go and explore some nice little bits of Manchester and look for something to eat. And this is one of the reasons I love Randonautica, is because it just gets you out and about, a group activity, exploring, and it's not quite free, is it, Tobias? But it's a very low cost way of exploring the planet, isn't it?
Yes, it costs you nothing, just curiosity.
Hey, that's a good one. Right, let's find a nice safe. So tell us what you're doing in Manchester, Tobias.
We just did a 1 week road trip.
That?
Yeah, sure.
Go on.
We just did a 1 week road trip through the UK spontaneously. We were looking. We checked out some cities and also visited some magical places like Avebury and Silbury Hill.
Oh wow, Tobias certainly had a magical trip to the UK. I've never visited any of these places. Shame on me. So we are actually right at the point. We've got to start looking round now.
There's a graffiti. What does it say?
Was a graffiti, yeah. Bass.
Or base?
Maybe. There's a white feather hanging in the tree. Getting drenched now, but what the heck, we'll dry out. The Shakespearean garden could be interesting to go and look in, although I don't think there's anything like a...
Well, usually when I am at the point and I don't see anything that has to do with my intent, I interpret it as this is the place I need to be to generate the next point from.
Yeah.
And that usually works.
Okay, we'll do a second point then. Let's just go over here and have a look. There might be some really mention of Steve on this placard, because what I do is I start reading everything. And is the squirrel called Steve? What have we got? Have we got hello? Doesn't say Steve on the wall anywhere, does it? That'd be a very lame graffiti tag. Let's have a look. Platfields Park. No, Stephen Shakespeare. Maybe that was his brother. Have we got Steve on here?
I don't see any Steve.
No. Getting to show Tobias some of my favourite sites in Manchester. This is the Toast Rack building. You'll have seen this on a lot of my videos. Bikes are for life. Start looking at graffiti while you're out randonauting. We call it talking walls. Could we have a nice mural on there, a proper one? Are we going to see the name Steve? Bikes are for life, not just for Christmas. Hey, that's pretty cool. Is this the street with loads of owls? Hey, guess what we're going to go and see now? I know exactly what's here. Come across, come across, come across. Come a bit further down. Just come along here, Tobias and Ella. My lens is misting up.
He's not spotted it yet. What can you see?
What? The owl.
Yeah, it's from Randonautica.
The owl is for where? What's the owl for?
Randonautica.
Yeah, but come along, look for the neck. Come along.
Cool, there's a lot of owls.
There's loads of owls. There's an owl on every single gate post all the way up here.
You found the treasure?
Oh, we should look inside it.
Nothing
Is,
there.
is Steve in there, Tobias?
It has an S on it.
It's got an S for Steve on it. We're getting closer to you, Steve. That's actually quite a funky little bum bag, actually. Right, we're gonna. So there's owls all the way along.
Can you just have it?
See all the
Yeah,
owls.
that's really cool.
What have we found?
An S for Steve.
An S for Steve, and he says stroll, because that's what we're doing now. Is we're strolling means to walk. So we're going for a Steve stroll. Let's look for more S's. Let's see. Teaches your kids to be observational.
Here's the S.
Another S.
Which means they can't knock it down and it's just been empty.
What does catering college mean?
Teaching people how to food, but
Oh, okay.
basically like
Restaurant college.
yeah, large scale
Yeah.
food production. You know, feeding 500 people, that kind of stuff. Oh, we've got vintage photographs inside. But it's I don't think anybody can take that.
Yeah.
But I have at least a peek now.
Oh dear. What's that? What have you spotted?
Another S.
There's another S. There we go. Well spotted, Ella.
A few S.
Oh yeah, more S's. Oh dear, that's really coming down now. Oh, Systema. They're actually really good quality lunch boxes.
Yeah.
Should we see? Do you think Steve might be in there?
Yeah.
Should we open it?
Yeah.
I think it'll be alright. Let's check. Oh, it's empty. Num 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 num. Steve! Yeah? Yeah! I'm here!
No, it's not. It's in Dane's Road.
We've got to find number 13 now, Ella. Should we find number 13? It might be on the other side, I'm not sure. Oh, it's going to be on here. Can we find number 13, Danes Road? Oh, look at the lovely fall crunchy colours. I should have written it down when it all happened, but 11. I think it's back one. I think we might have to go back. 11 to, oh yeah, it's here. Look at this big beautiful house.
Let's see. Find any hints?
Norwood. Oh, it's a very beautiful house.
Norwood House.
What can you see here that might belong to Steve, Ella? We've got an S for Steve. 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 Let's have a route around. All kinds of Steve. Steve! Norwood House it's called. Well, we're going to Google what's on my back? Sticky label. What's this? Ben. Nothing to do with Steve on that letter. I'm looking at the letter. signed by Ben, though. Okay, go.
So I found the last name curious, Norwood House. So I was googling if there's a person called Steve Norwood, and I found actually a song called "King of the Mountain" by Steve Norwood.
That's pretty countryside music,
Yeah.
isn't it? Randonautica News Jam.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check out his album.
I'm going up on the glacier.
He's got a real country twang. So let's go and have a look over here.
Here are some AI-generated faces of Steve. You'd have to join the Randonautica Telegram group to get this gag. So tell us about Steve.
Steve. Yeah, actually, I mean, Steve has been such an inside joke for years and years that like everyone who knows about him actually is kind of hesitant about talking about Steve, because it's part of the joke to not reveal the origin story. You know, it's kind of like people join the Telegram group of Randonautica, and there's all kinds of weird talk about Steve, and nobody knows who is Steve and why is everyone talking about Steve. So that's kind of part of the joke. But now, after 4 years, he's gotten a bit forgotten. So I think I think people will forgive me if I actually talk about the, you know, the background story. And it's probably also interesting for new people to hear it, because then they finally understand what it's all about. So to start easy, Steve is kind of like the tongue-in-cheek patron saint of randonauting, and he was invented as a virtual figure that will protect randonauts from bad experiences during their trips. There even used to be a prayer that people can say when they go randonauting to be protected. But his actual origin stories are much darker, and also the reason why he was invented as a virtual person, to kind of cover up the darker story about it. So the original story was that in the very beginning, it was still 2019. There was an early contributing developer called Theo. He's for example, he made the temporal algorithm that's still being used in the app. He was in the chat rooms from the very beginning, and he told this story once that he has had recurring dreams throughout his life, in which he met a demon called Atlas, and in one of these dreams he revealed that he was an entity created by large IT companies to better understand the universe, or the multiverse, or different dimensions, but they failed to understand what he was trying to teach them. And every time he appeared, he would have a different face. And one time in one of his dreams, he appeared as Steve Jobs, and he said, "I am Steve. I'm all kinds of Steve." So that catchphrase caught on in the chat, and then it started after people heard the story. It started that every time somebody would join the chat room, who would be called Steve, obviously, everyone would say, "Oh, it's Steve, it's here," and then somebody would reply, "Oh, all kinds of Steve." And it was during the same time that the early AI image generators became popular. I don't know if anyone remembers. Thisisnotaperson.com was one of the early, before ChatGPT, even of one of the early image generators, where you could reload the website, and every time you would reload it, it would show you a different photograph of a portrait photo of a person, but it was completely AI generated. And sometimes the AI would also show other people in the background. that would look really creepy because the AI wasn't as good back then. So there was always some kind of weird, uncanny valley, creepy elements in the images. And somehow that happened during that time when the Steve meme became popular. And then Soliax, who was an early developer also of the app, he then, just as a joke, created a chat command called Steve. And every time you would type Steve, it would show one of these random faces. And underneath it would say, I am Steve, all kinds of Steve. So it kind of became this conglomeration of different ideas that turned into what it is now. Like, it's still alive. People are still sometimes entering the chat room and using the Steve command,
Steve,
which will then trigger a random face, and it will confuse a lot of other people. So it's really cool that you're now doing this Steve related trip. And I'm really curious what you will find, because Steve is all kinds of Steve. And I'm very curious about the results.
Right, let's go again. I think this is my last 2 Steve points, and they have dropped in a field next to each other. So let me wend my way around the student halls. Oh, yeah, not one of the prettiest little bits, this back alley here. Often I see rats when I'm randonauting, or dead birds. Right. Oh, I found a ball. Steve, do you want to play football? Is it a Steve ball? Oh, it's flat. It's a meter. Right. I think we're going to go round there. Oh, maybe down there and around. I think I've got to go past the owls again. The kids are back at school. It's now late October. It's Halloween in a few days. And the clocks have changed, so it's getting dark early. It's a Monday. I'm on my lunch break pretty much, so why the hell not go out and do a bit of bending of space-time and dimensions? At least I think that's how it works. I should be filming ahead, really, because that's where the finds are going to be. Let's film ahead. Ooh, okay. It's the owls again. I don't have to go down there though. I'm going straight ahead this time, I think. Oh, let's cross. I really like it down here. We call it the lane. It's the old lane that runs down the back of the university campuses. Campi. Some lovely old buildings with scaffolding on. Steve, are you inside the scaffolding? To be honest, I'm a little bit miffed, isn't the word? Nonplussed. That's a good word. A bit meh about my Steve finds, even with the power of Tobias and Ella and Philip working together. We didn't find the monumental Steve find. Look at me scanning all around looking for Steve. All kinds of Steve. So Steve is pretty evasive, or maybe Steve just doesn't exist. Could that be a thing? What can you infer from my Steve journey? I tell you what you can infer, you don't even have to infer. Real randonauts never fake. Why would you fake? Just don't do it. I mean, I always think it's pretty new technology, not pretty. Pretty new technology. So I guess it's not going to be 100% accurate all the time. Right. Oh, my arm's sore. Oh, I've been to the gym, that's why. I've upped my weights. That's why. Look, they're demolishing a very old university building there. I really like this place here. It's an environmental research station, but it's also got a monumental, what are they called? Maybe a biome, biomes with cactus and all sorts of tropical plants in them, very warm. But we're not going to go in there today. I think we're going to go down to the five-a-side pitches on Hooker Right. God, I've not been down here for ages. I do believe, oh, I better not film over there. The points are somewhere over there. So, oh, I've got a good story to tell you in a minute about this pavilion. I'm getting closer to the point. I hope that isn't my message. I've got my bearings a bit better now. Oh, how did they get on the field? I've tried to get on here before and I couldn't do it. There's a point there and there's a point over there. How have they done that? I've tried to do this before. I wonder where the gate is. Is that going to rip my coat? Could I even get down there? Ooh, oh, dear me. I just don't think I'm going to get through there. The point is there. I realise now that I'm breaking one of the most important rules of Randonautica by trying to get through that gap. Don't trespass. Just don't get as close to the point as possible. And in fact, one of the founders, I do believe, of Grateful Dead died at the weekend, and I reposted it. I think it was a Randonaut video. I reposted it a couple of years ago. I took my skeptical astronomy lecturer out Randonauting on Anglesey, and we did the Grateful Dead intent, and it took us to, the point was in a field. The only thing nearby of any note was the name of the house, and that house's name unlocked probably right in my top 3 most accurate Randonautica finds. The name of the house was the name of the guy who organised a Grateful Dead festival in Jerusalem, I believe. Also a different name, it was Eran. It was a weird name. Also, a second Eran affiliated with Grateful Dead. He did Grateful Dead artwork, and as we're sat in the pub discussing our finds and I'm scrolling through Grateful Dead artwork, the guy in the pub says, "No way, I love Grateful Dead. That's who's on my hat."
If you want to check out the Grateful Dead video where we are in the pub looking at Grateful Dead artwork, at the same moment the guy wearing the Grateful Dead artwork on his hat was sat there, please check out the Randanauts video, link in the comments.
So get close to the point. You don't have to trespass. Right. Seagulls? There's your Steven Seagulls. Yeah, I'm reaching. Right, let's check the map. And then it's Steve over and out. There's a Steve point in that field, and there's one just behind me. I'm not climbing over that wall. What have we got? Is Steve really boring? Like, Steve, you started off so promising with all the Stevens at the first or second point or whenever it was. And then it's just been nothing. I can't even see if there's any graffiti on the wall. Let's walk to the end. Technically, I'm really in the vicinity of 2 radii.
Little did I know that sandwiched between those 2 Steve points, the power was really ramping up.
Steven Seagulls. There's about 20 seagulls there. Right, I'm about to give up on Steve.
Little did I know that I had just walked right past Steve, and Steve was most definitely sleeping. After feeling decidedly snubbed by Steve, I sent the footage to Tobias for review. Turns out that this alley, which landed between 2 points, was so more important than I could have ever imagined. Steve really did show up for me, like in a way you wouldn't believe.
So last week I got this WhatsApp message from Vicky asking me for help with her 7 days of Steve-mas video.
Hi Tobias, I hope you and the family are well. Hey, I'm just finishing off the Steve video. It's an hour long, oh my God. And other than the first day when there was some building site that said Stephen on it, there was just nothing. I mean, seriously, zilch, not a single thing at a single point that was really Steve-like, to be honest. The video's a bit of a dud. I'm just wondering, being as you're closer to all kinds of Steve than I am, what would your thoughts be? Could you just give me a couple of words as to why Randonautica just drew a blank on Steve? How could that relate to Steve? What are your thoughts, my dear?
So I asked Vicky to send me a preview video of what she had edited already of her trips. And I watched the video and my mind was blown because it's so full of synchronicities. The interesting thing though is that those synchronicities were important for me, but not for Vicky while she was going on that trip. So in order for you to understand those synchronicities, I will have to take you a bit further down the rabbit hole of the Steve meme and explain some of the more occult aspects of it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
When Vicky interviewed me in Manchester, I already mentioned the demon called Atlas, who called himself all kinds of Steve, and who repeatedly haunted the developer Theo's dreams.
When the original Steve meme first went viral in the Randonauts Telegram chats, some people grew concerned that the demon might be a real entity trying to feed off the hype and manifest through the Randonaut phenomenon. To break the link between Steve and the Atlas entity, a new Steve was invented. A virtual entity, a thought form or tulpa. In December 2019, a ritual was conducted to bring the new Steve into existence as a benevolent, shape-shifting trickster who would guide and protect Randonauts. He was given a magical sigil, crafted from the letters in his name, to resemble a dice for randomness and a box for protection. Steve even had an official prayer for Randonauts in distress. This was all part of the strange experiments that took place in 2019, way before the Randonautica app existed, before the Randonauts company was founded. As the years went by, the hype around Steve faded. Also, the Randonautica team went through many changes. Eventually, it became necessary to retire Steve, as forgotten but lingering thought forms can sometimes go rogue. In spring of this year, Steve was ritually decommissioned.
So with that wild backstory in mind, you'll be able to understand better what I mean by synchronicities. But let's go through them one by one. First of all, I paid attention to recurring elements in your trips. What really stood out to me were the containers. There was that blue one near the Volker Stevens signs, and of course the prominent one with the barbed wire at that poultry place, and then a container house at that ecological research center. They instantly made me think of containment and protection, symbolic of Steve's entire purpose. Your walk along the path between the football fields really nailed it. Suddenly, you started talking about the Grateful Dead, and that was right at the 33 minutes and 33 seconds mark in your preview video. I was like, yes, that's Steve now, a Grateful Dead released from existence. Then you mentioned two people named Eran, which means watchful or vigilant in Hebrew, just like Steve. And then as you passed that brick wall, my jaw dropped. See it? That cube right there. Let me overlay Steve's sigil on top of it. Bam! And what was written next to it? Kind and sleeping. Steve is kind of sleeping. A Grateful Dead thought form. I'd say total success. So bam! Mind blown, unbelievable trip. I still can't really wrap my head around how weirdly entangled you and I are, in the sense that finding it so kind of meaningless that you asked me for help and then you send me this video and I watch it and every single scene and every single point kind of totally made sense to me. Like That's mind-blowing to me. So thank you so much, Vicky. It was really cool to see you in Manchester. And thanks for making me part of this Steve mess and taking me down memory lane and blowing my mind with this. Thank you so much.
And original Steve, you can jolly well stay in your barbed wire box for all of eternity. Thank you. Set your intention in your mind for what you seek, you will find.